Hi, this is Dominic Pace, who plays Gekko the Bounty Hunter from The Mandalorian, and you are listening to Star Wars Comics in Canon.
So hello there guys, as you may be aware, this isn't a standard episode of Star Wars Comics in Canon. I want to come clean to you and just say I ran out of time. I recently did the Comics in Motion Book Club, I think it's the 4th episode of that, and that was tackling the first 8 issues of Neil Gaiman's Sandman comics. And for anyone who has read them, they will be aware of how much depth there is to it, and I wanted to read them and then reread them, making sure that I had appropriate notes for the book club and could articulate my thoughts properly and things, and so I could actually absorb the comic. But in addition to that, myself and Megan have been off work this week, just with plans. We've been busy doing a lot of things, and I just haven't had the time to read the 6 Poe Dameron comics I was meant to, so I just thought I would release something special on this feed, which is another Patreon exclusive episode, which obviously now is no longer exclusive, but I want to release something for you guys, and then next week it will be the 2nd volume of Poe Dameron comics, and then the usual flow into things as I normally waffle on about in my outros and things. But I want to clarify that before this starts and people are like, who's this woman talking? Why is this not the standard format? It's basically because I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Genuine Chit-Chat, and people who support the show for £1 a month or more, they basically get access to Afterthoughts episodes at least once a week. And in these Afterthoughts episodes, we have done all the Star Wars movies aside from The Rise of Skywalker, which we still keep meaning to record. Megan's now said we're probably going to have to rewatch it for her to give her full thoughts on that, so that's fun in itself. But we recorded this original trilogy one a little while ago. We've also released on Patreon The Force Awakens and also The Last Jedi as well, so there's a little bit of a pool as well. I'm trying not to rely on them too much, but it just means if I do have a week like I have this time and my upcoming holidays I've got due, it just means I don't have to worry and rush and kind of take up all of my free time forcing myself to get an episode out to you guys. So yeah, this is a bit of fun. It's about half an hour or so of me and Megan talking about the original trilogy of Star Wars, and the start of it is a lot of fun. You'll probably be querying what on earth we're doing for the first minute or two, and then it will all become quite clear. But this is the kind of content you can expect from my Patreon, as well as Star Wars stuff. We've done a lot of the Marvel movies, including a lot of the new stuff we do spoiler-free reviews for after we go see it at the cinema. We've also done all the Harry Potter films up to Order of the Phoenix so far. I think Order of the Phoenix I haven't yet released. I think I've got that in the bank, so we've got yet to record a few others. And then we've also got other non-MCU and Star Wars related things and Harry Potter related things. So I've recently released an episode of Book of Mormon, so me and Megan watched that recently. And there's also, we're doing this big Tom Hanks rewatch for 2022, so trying to go through like the majority of Tom Hanks movies, starting with Big. And what I've done for you lovely people is that if you go over to the link which should be in the description, which is bit.ly/Tom Hanks 1, so it's just bit.ly/TOMHANKS, the number 1. If you type that in to any browser, then you get access to the first Tom Hanks Afterthoughts completely for free. The other ones will not be free. They are going to be for paying Patreons only, but I thought I'd give you guys another taster. So this week, not only do you get this Afterthoughts of the original trilogy discussion, but you also get the Tom Hanks Big discussion, which kind of will lead on to the other Tom Hanks rewatches. So we've also got Turner and Hooch, The Burbs, Joe versus the Volcano, A League of Their Own, and then moving on to things like Forrest Gump and Castaway and etc. So very excited to do all those. And for anyone who's listening who is a Patreon supporter who's a bit like, oh, well, I'm not getting any additional content. Well, I've actually uploaded another episode on Patreon specifically on the date of this release for all Patreon supporters, so you still have something to listen to. I believe that is actually the Book of Mormon discussion that me and Megan had, so you get that. And then tomorrow, so Sunday, is part 2 of my chat with Spider Dan, which is getting released. But any Patreon supporters had access to part 1 and part 2 when part 1 already dropped. So there's another Patreon episode being released on Sunday, which means that this week alone, Patreon supporters have had 3 episodes of Afterthoughts. One on Wednesday, one on Saturday, and then another one on Sunday. So that's 3 episodes in 1 week, just because on this feed and on Genuine Chit-Chat I've released a bit of content that Patreon supporters already had access to. So if that's not a good enough reason to go check out my Patreon and support the show for as little as £1 a month to help keep the gears running and to also get loads of additional content and early access to stuff, please go over to patreon.com/Genuine Chit-Chat. But that's going to be enough waffle for me. I'm not going to be back at the end after mine and Megan's conversation has finished, so you'll hear the usual sort of outro-y stuff and then the conversation will end. But I can assure you guys that next week it will be back to the standard format. It will be Poe Dameron Volume 2, and there's going to be issues 8 to 13, because issue 7 randomly is in the third trade paperback, but I'm going to get into that when I actually do the recording and things. But I just want to thank you guys for being so understanding, and thank all of you who are Patreon supporters who allow me to do stuff for Patreon, so I do have additional content to release and stuff. But yeah, just thank you so much for listening, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you listening to Star Wars Comics and Canon and or to Genuine Chit-Chat. But without further ado, here is mine and Megan's thoughts on Star Wars, the original trilogy. Hello there and welcome to Star Wars Comics in Canon, your guide to the wider Star Wars canon through the comic book lens. And to take you on this journey, I'm your host, Mike Burton.
This is going to be it. That's better.
That was better. Not quite as good. You can't do it. You're not strong enough. Was that the R2D2?
Yeah.
And welcome to Star Wars Noises with two people. And we're here with another... Oh no, we don't need to do that because...
And we're here with another afterthought.
People should probably assume that because we're doing Star Wars noises that we are doing Star Wars. But funny story,
no, we're
guys.
not. We're doing
Star Trek.
Indiana Jones.
That's it. People get excited and make us watch. To be fair, I wouldn't mind watching the Indiana Jones films again.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But then it's more so waiting for like the fifth one to come out, and then it'll be an excuse to rewatch them all. But yeah, anyway, so we are doing the original trilogy of Star Wars because we were doing each film individually, and then we watched A New Hope. It was a couple of weeks ago, and then...
It was more than a couple of weeks ago now.
Well, we watched A New Hope, and we were like, we'll do an afterthoughts on that soon. And then we were just like, let's just watch Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. And then, wasn't it like straight after watching it, you just fancied watching Return of the Jedi, so we watched them both in the same day? Or was it we watched like the day after?
I think what happened is we watched... Yeah, I think I started to get tired, so we paused Empire Strikes Back, and then the next day we watched the rest of Empire, and then we just carried on through and watched
Return of the
Jedi.
Yeah, because that surprised me a little bit, because we watched basically the second half. I think it was after the whole first bit of Jabba. Once that all finished, you were like, I'm kind of tired, can we watch the rest of this?
With Jabba?
Jabba the Hutt. Oh no, I'm getting confused.
Jabba's in episode 6.
I meant with Hoth. I meant after the Ice Planet stuff, and he goes to the Dagobah system.
You must go to the Dagobah system. I honestly don't remember, because I feel like you wouldn't have let me, but you wouldn't have wanted me to have paused Empire, because the last time we watched it, I fell asleep. I don't think I've ever actually seen Empire Strikes Back all the way through without stopping.
Yeah, but anyway, we basically watched all 3 Star Wars films in the space of about 4 days or something. It was really, really close together, and it was at the time where we knew we didn't have to do too many afterthoughts, because we recorded, at one point we had so many afterthoughts recorded. I think I had about 8. We were recording
8 in the bank.
Yeah, we were recording one, then they weren't getting released for like a month and a half or even 2 months, so I was just like, we don't need to record that many. So we didn't, and I've been busy podcasting, and now we're at the end of we haven't got any more left in the bank. So
there you go. That's our life story, and that's where we're going to end the art.
But that's why I want to explain to people why we're doing all 3 films in one go, as opposed to it being, one film at a time.
Anyway, I liked them.
So, A New Hope. Let's go with that. We don't have to explain when they all came out. People should know these things about Star Wars and generally. So, or the 3, how they compare. Like, what do you think of them? Because this is your 3rd full rewatch, isn't it, with me?
The difficult thing is that because we haven't split them up, they all merge into one. So I know that episode 4 is obviously introduction to Luke and Leia and Han and all of the gang, and I say an introduction, but
that's the death of Obi-Wan.
The death of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, because he dies on the Death Star in it, doesn't he?
Obi-Wan?
That's where he fights Vader.
Lord Vader. Yeah. So, yeah, that all happens. And then episode 5, sorry, this is just me trying to rethink my thoughts. Episode 5 is basically them on the Dagobah system. That's all that happens in that movie. And then they meet Lando, and
the Dagobah system is not even not even a quarter of the whole film.
Oh my god, it's so easy. You just nibble at it every single time.
You just nibble at it whenever I complain about
and then
the
obviously
Dagobah system.
Thingy meets his dad, doesn't he?
Meets his dad.
They meet each other.
You mean they confirm each other?
They confirm each other.
What are you doing? Reversing and hitting the tumble dryer constantly. You're getting further and further away from the microphone. Come closer. You should need to actually face the microphone when you're talking.
Right, the people don't want to hear these.
The people don't want to hear these.
Yeah, so that's episode 5, and then episode 6 is obviously the best because it's got me in it playing my starring role as Jabba the Hutt. And then it's got also the greatest characters aside from that, which are the Ewoks, which I know also get a bad rep, but I love them. They're so cute.
They're quite divisive. Like, some people love the Ewoks and some people hate them.
Every single film has to have that, like, cute factor, or like every franchise has the cute factor.
But that's why people don't like it. That's why people get annoyed.
Yeah, well, tough shit, everyone. It's not all about the adults, it's about the kids as well.
Yeah, I mean, George Lucas famously said Star Wars is a kids' film.
It is a kids' film.
I feel like
we deserve the Ewoks.
I feel like it's more. It's a very. I don't like calling it a kids' film. I prefer looking at it like it's suitable for all ages. You know what I mean? Like, in the first one, in A New Hope,
when he sees his family's bodies that have been burned.
He had literally charred corpses of his uncle and aunt, and then also Obi-Wan slices that Aqualish's arm off, and it's on the floor covered in blood. And you're like, how is this you?
Why is that the only one that's been covered in blood, though? You don't see any other things covered in blood.
I think the idea is, in the canon answer, is that the Aqualish, the species, their blood and flesh doesn't cauterize at the heat of a lightsaber, therefore it doesn't burn off. Whereas humans and everyone else we've seen have limbs cut off, the lightsaber has cauterized the wound and stopped blood coming out. But they're really hot lightsabers. You stab in a wall, and
they're very hot.
Yeah, but the whole point of them is they're so hot it would cut.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying it's a very, like, fucking far-fetched.
Well, the reason is because when they made the film, they didn't think about these things, and then afterwards someone probably went, aren't lightsabers meant to be made of red-hot energy? How come when you slice that one's arm off, blood came out? And then be like, oh, the body temperature of Aqualish are higher or lower or something.
Them trying to fill more plot holes in it.
Well, I don't think there's been like a big outward thing. I think it's just one little note on Wikipedia. It just says Aqualish's blood doesn't cauterize, because it's just like, evidently it doesn't.
Yeah, I thought they were alright. Enjoyed them.
What's the running order now?
Empire probably is still my least favourite.
Okay.
But that one generally makes people mad when I say that.
Yeah. But now, do you like...
I don't hate... So Empire used to be my second least favourite of all of the films.
Besides
Attack of the
Clones. Attack of the Clones.
Well, that's why I said my second least favourite. If you let me explain,
right,
then I'll explain it, won't I? This is pre-episode 9 coming out when this first ranking order happened. Back in the day, back in nearly 3 years ago when Mike first made me watch before COVID.
1 year BC.
But yeah, so Empire Strikes Back used to be my second least favourite Star Wars film, with Attack of the Clones being at the bottom. And then since rewatching, Attack of the Clones is no longer at the bottom. I think I said The Phantom Menace was slightly worse than it. So yeah, I don't know. Now that I've seen Empire Strikes Back like a couple more times, I prefer it a little bit more. But I don't know. I think it's just the main male protagonist in every film. I just can't stand because they're whiny. Like, and I know that I guess that's the common trait because they're all related, but like, they're just whiny little bitches and it pisses me off. Like, they just bug me. Luke Skywalker in that film is so goddamn whiny. And I know that that's the point. And I know that he's on the Dagobah system and he has to do the trial and the whole thing that he has to work on his patience and all of that bullshit. But he is so whiny. He like is such an asshole to Yoda, and obviously like Yoda is like this quirky, like he's being nuts. To be fair, annoying. He's being really annoying. Like Yoda is being a massive pain in the ass, but Anakin is still a dickhead. Like
Luke.
Whatever. The same character in there. Luke's being a dickhead. So. Like, there's one bit where Yoda's like, oh, can I have some food? Or he touches his food. And then instead of eating it or just giving it to him, he throws it on the ground. Yeah. And I'm like, you're here rationing. You don't have that much food to survive. You don't know how long you're going to be here. Your ship, by the way, is in the bottom of a fucking, like, lake, swamp bog thing. So it's just like, And you're throwing food on the ground because this green being has touched it and he's a bit quirky. It's like, oh, you're a dick. It's like, you're an absolute dickhead.
This is the thing, is I agree, because Anakin, Luke, and Kylo are all whiny in different ways.
Whiny.
But I love Kylo Ren, because he is just like, I just like it because he goes sort of full swing. Like, I like it when characters go dark and when they're kind of struggling and they're not just evil, point blank evil. Because things like Snoke and to some degree Palpatine just kind of bore me, because like, oh, I'm evil. Why? Because I want to take over the galaxy. Yeah, but why? You're so unbelievably powerful. You could literally just settle on a planet, have literally everything you've ever wanted and probably more. Or you just want to risk it all to control the whole planet for
a
what
chocolate
purpose?
biscuit.
Obviously, the idea is the Sith ideology and that sort of thing, and it did work. But it's just like, Vader's struggle is so much more interesting as a thing, because his whole theme is he's always a slave. There's that Vader, he's a slave in Tatooine, then to the Jedi, and then to the Sith, and it's like the redemption works in a sense. But Palpatine, it's like, oh no, Palpatine's got another plan. It's like, I don't care. Oh, here's Snoke. I don't care. Whereas Kylo is like, oh shit, here's a complex character. And then in episode 9, they're like, hey, boom. Let's not do that.
Complex character.
He's yeah, but he's not plain and easy to...
He's basically just stuck in a phase of teenage angst. That is what Kylo Ren is.
30 years old.
I know, yeah, right. So if you just listen,
So
he's stuck in a phase of teenage angst. That's all it makes me think of. Like, any scene that he becomes angry, he's just like, it's so dumb. He's like, I'm going to destroy this entire room that costs loads of money. Oh, I'm going to slash all of the electrics. Oh, there's one man down there, so I'm going to shoot 5,000 not bullets, whatever they are, lasers at him. It's just like, come on.
But
it's
that's
like
that's the thing. Yeah, but if the Joker did that,
yeah, but I don't even know why you're talking about Kylo Ren. We're talking about the film's
because we're talking
saga
about
that doesn't have him in.
We're talking about the whiny bitches in between.
Yeah, I'm talking about the whiny bitches, all of the male protagonists that I don't really like that much. But you're just making it about Kylo Ren, who's not even a part of these movies.
We're not there yet. That is true. Okay, rounding it back to Luke. I agree with you. I don't really like Luke in the films until the sixth one, really, because I don't feel like until then he's not really.
He grows up a bit.
Well, yeah, he does. Even though, ironically, he seems much closer to his age in episode 4 with episode 5, even though it's been 3 years. But from episode 5 to episode 6, that's only 1 year. But it seems like the jump is a lot bigger. But yeah, I like Luke more. It's like with Anakin, you know. I like Anakin, obviously, Clone Wars a lot, but film Anakin, I don't mind him.
Film Anakin can get lost.
It's just, I understand in a lot of ways what they were trying to go for, but it just doesn't come out in the right way. But regardless,
Something else. Oh,
but I like the side characters. I like, you know, Lando, and you know, I love Chewie. I think Chewie. He's so great. Like, he's basically just. He's a really smart, intelligent. He's a human. If I met him, he would be treated as an equal. But the way, because we don't understand his dialogue, it's kind of like having a pet. And George Lucas based him on his dog he used to go on road trips with. And so it's just like that thing. Han Solo's the fast talker, the smart guy, the one who's going into it, but has got a lot of one-liners. And he bounces off Chewie, which he can basically says anything. It's just kind of like anything funny that would come into that character can just be like, you know, he is not Chewie saying something funny. It's Chewie having a reaction and Han Solo bouncing off Chewie saying whatever and repeating it in the common language for us to understand the funny way. I just think so many elements are so cool. Carrie Fisher's Leia. Leia's so fucking badass.
She's alright.
You don't like anyone in these movies?
No, I don't really.
What about Lando?
I don't mind Lando.
You don't mind the man that betrays them? He
does betray them, but he's kind of in a position where he can't really do anything. It's either betray them or he's going to get killed. Like, ultimately, that's the choice. So you're going to do what it takes to survive. You've
got a lot of sympathy for people who do bad things, but when someone's a bit annoyed, you're like, fuck that person. Luke grew up on a farm by himself. Dad his entire life lied to him about him. Fuck that. Lando, he's in a tough situation, wasn't he? Let him off the hook.
Yeah, but he has personality to him, whereas Luke's just a bit of a wet blanket.
Lando's like 40. He's like 40-something years old, and he's the Baron of Cloud City. Luke is a farm boy who's raised by his uncle.
I'm sorry, you're asking me which characters I like and dislike, and I'm giving valid reasons as to why I like and dislike these characters.
I prefer Lando to Luke a lot.
Also, Luke's shit at communication.
I know.
Like, he should have just said to when he found out that Vader was his father and that he had a twin sister, he should have just told her straight away. And he then does talk to her, but the whole lack of communication in the sixth film is just so dumb. Like, Han's getting all jealous at the fact that Luke and Leia are, like, being friendly. But all she would have to do is be like, oh, we've just found out that he's my brother. And then he would have been like, all right then.
Yeah, but I suppose that's kind of a personal thing, especially after realising that you kissed them. That's probably quite an embarrassing thing to admit to
Yeah, but they
someone.
didn't make out. Whenever
There's the saliva bit. When they kiss, you see a string of saliva just away from their mouth. Yeah. Watch that, guys. It's episode 5, I think, at the start, isn't
it's
it?
after Luke wakes up from being, like, almost killed by the Wampa.
Yeah, it's episode 5.
Because that's on Hoth, isn't it? So, yeah, he wakes up and then she, like, kisses him for some reason or whatsoever. And then but it's not like a proper kiss, it's like a peck.
Well, she, like, defiantly kisses him in front of Han Solo.
Yeah,
Han
it's
Solo's
to
being a
make
dick.
Han Solo jealous because he's being a dick. But she kisses Luke, and it's not a romantic kiss by any stretch.
No, it is kind of...
I wouldn't say it's a forced kiss on the mouth, but it's just a...
The face kind of goes together.
They don't make
and
out.
then they pull away. Yeah, it's not like you're watching their lips, go
But
over
it's a
each other
kiss
and
that I
things.
would see, like, a child give to their parent.
That's not quite. I think you're misremembering the scene a bit too much there.
Anyway.
You would... If you're saying you would give your dad the kiss that Leia gives
I wouldn't
Luke,
kiss my dad
I don't
on the
think that you
mouth.
understand what kind of kiss this is. This is a bit much. Because that's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying at all, so...
Anyway.
We're Italian, we kiss on the cheek anyway.
No, I know.
But anyway, so they kiss, but it's not a super romantic kiss. It's just a fuck you kiss. And as they pull away, there's a string of saliva, and every time I see it, I have to look away because it makes me feel sick. But then I always look back, and it's still there on the screen, and it's awful.
You always look away too quickly, and I never say anything. I'm just like, I'm going to let you experience this if you can't deal with seeing this. It's like in a horror film when something really bad happens. You're like, I don't want to see this. I'm like, unless it's something really horrendously fucked up, like bone snapping or something with the eyes and things like that, I'm like, no, I can watch this. But
no, I can't deal with it.
When it's
Also,
eye
I can't remember how we got onto this conversation.
we're talking about Leia and kissing, not being truthful to Han in episode 6. And therefore, because she didn't say about the sister thing, and then I said it's probably because she was embarrassed.
Oh yeah, oh that's what. Yeah, my thing is that every time they say anything about Star Wars and Han and Luke and Leia, it always gets mentioned that they kissed, and everyone's like, "Oh, but they kissed. That's so gross." My point is that at any point that they kiss in this movie, it is not like a romantic kiss because they kiss maybe once or twice.
She kisses him on the cheek, she says good luck and kisses him on the cheek. But
that's fine.
That's normal. Like if one of my female friends kissed me on the cheek in a jokey way, or even in a situation like that was life threatening, it wouldn't be even a hello. If some friends just kiss on the cheek, that's not.
Well, I mean, again,
it's not a bad
me
thing.
being Italian,
yeah.
Literally in Italy, anytime you say hello or goodbye to anyone, you kiss them on the cheek.
Yeah, the kiss on the cheek is what you can give. It's like the most.
It's a
neutral
greeting and a goodbye.
Yeah,
it's
super neutral. So she's given him a couple of them, and I think she also kissed him on the lips, like a peck once, like a just normal kiss, like a.
And then there's
there was
also the saliva incident.
The making out bit.
It's not make out.
The press together for a few seconds one. The
It's
elongated
not even for a few
kiss.
seconds. I think you're misremembering it.
No, I was thinking it before we watched it. When we watched it recently, I was like, oh shit, this goes on way longer than I remember it doing, and I think you are too. It is a bit long.
Let's watch it.
Watch now. The Luke and Leia. I have to put that on my history now. I'm going incognito. I don't need people knowing.
Do you want me to pause this and then we'll come back with our opinions on the saliva kiss?
Yes.
Okay, so we've watched the video.
Yes.
We had to watch 2 different videos because one of them was like a gag one. So we watched the video. It's about 3.5 seconds that they kiss. Okay, so it's slightly longer than I recall it being, but it's still not a romantic kiss.
It's definitely, you don't feel like, oh my god,
the passion.
Yeah. Whereas when you see Han and Leia kiss later on when they're on the ship and stuff,
it's like it's being forced because it is being forced because obviously she's only doing it to make Han jealous. But
when you actually see Han and Leia kiss, though, I'm saying is that's actually a more romantic kiss.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's the juxtaposition between the two.
Yeah, I know. The kiss thing doesn't really bother me. I just remember watching it, I was like, this bit again. But then I just don't like watching people kiss anyway. I don't. If we watch a romantic film and then just watch two people make out for like 8 to 12 seconds, I don't need to see all this.
When they zoom in on and increase the mouth noises,
you only need to see like 1 or 2 seconds, and then you can cut away because you can just go, hey, this amount that you basically saw. That's how it was the rest. You can generally guess how making out is going to be by how quickly they do it. It's the ones where it's like, and they just like get really close to each other. It's like breathing loads, and they're like they're ripping each other's clothes off. And you're like, this is too much in like certain films when they've been like.
What kind of movies have you been watching?
It's always the door. It's the doors. They open the doors, and then it's the trope they're making out, and they're putting each other's clothes off, and they can't actually stop.
Mike, I don't watch
each
those
other.
kinds of movies.
You're the only person who shows me those kinds of movies.
Excuse me?
They're all chick flicky sort of things.
You do not get that sort of stuff in a chick flick, Mike. Chick flicks are innocent and pure.
This is not true.
The kind of movies that you are referring to are not.
That's rubbish. But anyway, I don't like watching kisses anyway much.
Anyway, right, let's get back on because we're like at.
Well, that's it. We're talking about
20
the 3
minutes.
films, so it doesn't matter. I personally, I think
I don't know. I
the films get better as they go along.
I feel for me it might be either 465 or 645. In any case, 5 is always going to be at the bottom.
Sorry, say that again.
It's either 645
Yeah.
or 465.
Oh, so it's just that
I'm not too sure as to whether 4 or 6 is my
So you I didn't realise that you enjoyed episode 4 so much more than episode 5.
Oh, I don't know.
Because with me, I think episode... It's hard because it depends, because I thought episode 5 and 6 were the best for a while, and I still think that is true.
I just think that
some people like the first one because it's so world building. It's just kind of like...
Oh, I honestly don't know. I don't know.
It's got good pacing, the first one.
McClunky.
Except that bit. Yeah, I love all 3 of them.
I enjoy all of them.
I don't know what I prefer watching out of the 2 trilogies of the prequels and originals, what we've watched next. These ones are a lot more consistent, and they all kind of feel the same.
What, the originals?
Yeah, these 3
Oh, right.
compared to the prequels.
Yeah, they seem more samey. I mean,
They're just like they're not that different.
episode 2
Like,
just seems to be in its own realm of whatever the fuck it is.
well, that's the thing is that 1 and
episode
2
1 with Jar Jar.
1 and 2 are really jarring, and then 3 has this scene that's more dark than almost any scene in like any family films, having him fucking kill children and stuff, and the Jedi Order 66 thing, watching like mass genocide just go over the entire galaxy. Like, this is a fucking kids film. You're literally watching genocide. It's like, this is horrendous.
Yeah.
Watching children get murdered in a temple when they were like monk children, basically getting murdered by a dude with a sword and
Master
soldiers with guns.
Skywalker.
It's just like, dude,
What are we going to do? We're going to kill you now.
I'm literally gonna.
Goodbye, Padawan. No, not even a Padawan. Goodbye, youngling.
Yeah, doesn't even have a master yet, not even a Padawan. But yeah, I don't know which trilogy I prefer watching out of the 2. I think they're even for different reasons. I think that some of the highs in prequels are higher than a lot of the parts of these films, but I think the lows in the prequels far exceed the lows in these ones
I
by
honestly
a lot.
don't know, but I enjoy these films.
I don't think they dip really much at all.
What's your rating for them?
Well, I have got the afterthoughts.
Oh, you've made a little document.
I haven't managed to go back and take note of older ones yet.
Well, what's even the point then?
So I don't know.
Have you
All we've got
any of the
is
Star
we've got
Wars?
Rogue One is the only one I've got
Oh,
noted.
well, Rogue One's like the best.
Yeah. I think the Phantom Menace was like 6 or 6, and then I think Attack of the Clones was like 6.5.
I gave Little Miss Sunshine a 9.5.
Yeah, I was like surprised as
No,
well.
that's high.
I told you that was the thing. That is.
I don't think Little Miss Sunshine is a 9.5.
No, it's not. And I was, but you said after watching it.
Cruella is a 7.5. Okay.
You said after watching Little Miss Sunshine, it was basically the perfect movie. Unless I've typed in the number wrong and you don't actually think
9.5. That
I
seems awfully high.
I might have to go back and check that out.
Anyway, sorry everyone.
Yeah, that's what's going on. So I haven't actually got enough data on. I've just got Rogue One, which is 7.8.
Yeah, like I've given Rogue One a 7.8, but I've given Little Miss Sunshine a 9.5.
You're harsh. You don't give any films good ratings apart from Thor Ragnarok. No film comes close to hitting every mark for you. So you're like, nope.
I do love
nothing
Thor
else is this
Ragnarok.
good.
That is true. These films. So I think I would give.
Episode 4. Let's do that first.
No, I'm not going to do it that way.
Oh,
I think I'm going to give episode 5.
I have to write this shit down.
Just put it in the document.
I don't want to type. It's loud, isn't it? I'll do it
Okay.
afterwards.
Right, I think I'll give episode 5. So now I have to base it on... I know that I gave Phantom Menace a 6 and Attack of the Clones a 6.5, so I need to base it on whether I prefer... If I would want to watch a film, would I watch this film over this film?
I think you gave Revenge of the Sith like 7.5. And you gave Rogue One 7.8, so you haven't given any...
What? I don't understand. My rating system is whack.
I told you, this is what I say when you do it. You're like, nope, we're sticking to this is what I thought. I said, alright.
I can't be controlled.
I'm not going to shame you on the podcast. Your scoring ability. What about Thor Ragnarok? 10?
So,
Perfect.
would I rather watch Phantom Menace or The Empire Strikes Back is the question that I'm having to ask myself now. Out of those two films, what would I prefer to watch?
Watch Jar Jar Binks or the Dagobah system.
Hey, but I like Yoda. I just get bored with the with the Dagobah system. I think I'd give it a 6.5. I think I prefer it to Phantom Menace.
Okay. So about
Maybe
equal.
6.5. Equal to Attack of the Clones. Ah.
That's the thing.
Oh, no, that can fuck off. This is higher than Attack of the Clones. Jesus Christ. So 7. Okay, so we'll give this a 7.
It's 7. I think I'd give Empire Strikes Back. I think I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Okay, so then with A New Hope, this one basically we just meet everyone, don't we? And then
There's the Death Star, there's Obi-Wan dying and fighting Vader, and then there's the Death Star trench run.
Luke.
So there's the 3 main bits. Yes, introduction.
I think I might actually prefer Empire to Episode 4.
I feel that way.
So
I like it.
I might have to
Episode 4.
reassess some stuff. So now, what did I... So I gave 7.8 to Rogue One. I think I need to increase that. I think that's higher than 7.8.
Yeah, I think Rogue One's like an 8.5.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to give Rogue One an 8.5. I'm going to change that on the document.
Adjust
it to an 8.5.
I'm going to have to... Because I'm going to... Eventually, at some point, I'm going to go through our afterthoughts and I'm going to check through the numbers. I'm going to fill in this document and then put it on Patreon.
Wow. Well, good luck. Have fun with that, everyone, in the future.
Yeah, we'll eventually do that.
Okay, so I've given... Right, okay, I'm going to change it. So I'm going to give A New Hope 7.
Okay, A New Hope 7.
I'm going to give Empire 7.5. And I'm going to give whatever the last one's called, 6. Return of the Jedi. And I'm going to give it a 7.8.
So now are doing 7.8s.
Am I not allowed to do 7.8?
I mean, 7.8 is annoying. It's quite particular.
Okay, fine. I'll give it an 8. I just don't feel like it's high enough to be an 8.
You don't think when you see the Ewoks, the Jabba the Hutt's palace at the start, and the end with Luke fighting Vader and stuff.
Yeah, all right.
You don't think that's an 8?
We'll give it an 8. We'll give it an 8.
There we go. Okay. Well, I'm probably going to agree with you, but give everything you've given slightly higher because I'm just less harsh than you. So you're giving it A New Hope a 7. I'm giving it a 7.5. You're giving Empire Strikes Back a 7.5.
Well, I'm not that harsh because
giving it an 8. And then you're giving Return of the Jedi an 8, and I'm giving it an 8.5. So it's like
I'm not that harsh because I gave Little Miss Sunshine a 9.5. I'm going to change that to an 8.5.
You're gonna do that adjusted. That's what I'm doing it in. I'm doing it in bold and in italics to call it adjusted amount. And I'm gonna have an extra little tape column and be like Megan's adjusted amounts.
Oh, I can't. Do you know what? Whatever. I can't control.
8.5.
Yeah, I can't control how I feel in that moment of time. But looking at this, it seems a bit skewed.
We'll continue to give Mitchells and the Machines a 9.
I really enjoyed that film. I don't.
Yeah, that film was sick.
Take that back.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's our ratings. I'm sorry that this was rambly. We haven't done an afterthoughts in a while, so I think we've kind of
just
forgotten that it's an afterthoughts.
We're just chatting about nonsense. But people say they like that, though. A lot of people, when they talk to me about listening to the afterthoughts, they like us talking about random other things.
And obviously, I mean, to be fair, like, these are normally like 10 or 15 minutes long, aren't they? Like,
well, that's what I was thinking.
Per film, and we've done like 3 with some tangents here and there, but we're on about half an hour, so it makes sense. But yes,
We'll have to see. I think we will have to do different ones for the sequel trilogy, though. I think the original trilogy.
Yeah, no, I want to do different ones. It's just that life got
But these ones, the thing is,
busy.
These ones are so popular and been around for so long. People giving their own thoughts on them now. Even though, I always like to hear what people think about Star Wars. In general, this kind of
like, if I met someone and they didn't know what happened in Star Wars,
just at least the original.
I would
trilogy,
be like,
what?
Like,
so
have you lived under a rock for the past few
It's like you say years? Vader, I say Vader, what do you say? I am your father. There you go. Like, that's relatively it. What's the Death Star? It's the spaceship thing.
Even like, have you seen Toy Story 2? Because that's Star Wars.
Because that spoiled Empire Strikes Back for you, didn't it?
Yeah, when we watched Empire the first time. So I'd seen it before when I was younger, but when we watched it for the first time together, yeah, I knew that it was that bit because I had remembered what happened in Toy Story 2.
Doug and Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. I remember watching that as a kid. I was like, what? They did the same in Star Wars.
Is that how you spoke when you were younger?
Yeah, it was.
Cool.
That's exactly how I spoke.
Right, that's fantastic. So
Cool. Yeah, that was our afterthought on original trilogy, and then we'll get on to doing the Force Awakens and stuff next. We'll see if the next. I'm hoping that in this rewatch
throw
of the
caution
trilogy,
to the wind. We'll just watch episode 7 now.
maybe. But no, with it, I want to say I'm hoping that in this watch you will enjoy Last Jedi more than Rise of Skywalker.
I don't think I will.
We'll have to see, because I might enjoy Rise of Skywalker more.
How many times have I seen Rise of Skywalker?
Twice.
Right, okay.
You've seen Force Awakens.
Yeah,
no, three times because you sort of dabbing and stuff. You had no idea what the hell was going on, because they didn't show you the first film. So it's already been tainted because someone showed you the sequel to a film.
Have I seen it twice? I think I've only seen Force Awakens.
You've seen Force Awakens
once
twice.
with you. Twice with you.
Yeah, because when we watched,
that's the film that I probably remember.
We watched them all. We watched them all as a.
We've only watched them once all before. This is our second time round watching them. We haven't got to Force Awakens yet.
No, but when we watched them all when we were together before Last Jedi came out, Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah. Okay, you're right. And then we watched it again in preparation.
Yeah, because we watched I said let's just watch 3, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, so I've seen Force Awakens less times than I've seen The Last Jedi. As Mike rightly said, I didn't go to the cinema to see Force Awakens, and I went to the cinema to see The Last Jedi. Needless to say, I was very confused. But the devastating thing, and this is a spoiler for anyone that hasn't seen The Force Awakens, is that I didn't know that Han Solo died. So when I watched it with Mike, I was absolutely fucking devastated. How that didn't get spoiled for me is beyond me, but...
I was trying my fucking best to be, when I was around people, I was like, don't you fucking... You'd make her leave the room, I'd be like, don't you fucking mention Han Solo died to Star Wars, guys. I will kill you if you do. She needs to find this out herself. And I was terrified you'd go on the internet and find out. And then you watched it and then you got emotional about it. I was like, yes, you feel the same as the rest of us. You didn't get it spoiled beforehand. So you need to experience it.
To be honest, I've been very lucky with spoilers, if I'm being completely honest, because I saw Endgame.
Yeah, I showed you that.
Wait, like what, a year and a half after it came out?
Yeah, it was Infinity War. You watched like 2.5 years after it came out.
Yeah,
and
I knew nothing.
You just knew nothing. A snap happened, but you thought Loki did.
Yeah. So again, this is spoilers. So I knew that a snap happened. Obviously, the thing, and I thought Loki did it. So when we were watching Endgame, when Loki dies at the beginning, I was like, oh well, he's not going to die because he's the one that did the click. So. He's coming back, and then he never fucking came back.
Yeah,
wait, no, this is in Infinity War. Sorry,
that is Infinity War.
Yeah. So yeah, in Infinity War, and then obviously I'm waiting for the whole film for Loki to come back, and then it gets to the end, and then Thanos does it. I'm like, oh fuck. But I knew nothing about it. The only thing, and this again is a spoiler, the only thing that I knew is that Tony Stark died, and that is solely because I wanted to go and see Far From Home in the cinema.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, was it Far From Home?
Yeah. I tried to clarify Spider-Man in case people...
Yeah, we went and saw Spider-Man Far From Home at the cinema. And obviously at the beginning of that film, there's like a memorial to all of the Avengers that died. But I knew so little about the movies that nothing else got spoiled because, like, for example, like Black Widow came up, but I didn't know who she was. So I forgot that she died.
Because Black Widow, Vision, Captain Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Tony Stark, they were the 4 people who came up at the start, but then the film was more about Tony Stark passing the Vision. So the other 3 just kind of...
They don't get mentioned.
There was a flash up of their images and they said their names once, and that was it. So when you started the films at the start, a lot of those characters... Well, Captain America's from the early start, but the other 2 don't come in for a few films. So yeah,
but I was very lucky there. Anyway, we've gone off on a tangent again, and now we're at like nearly 35 minutes, so...
Yeah, but it's good you didn't get spoilers, and I'm glad that you don't get them, because, yeah...
I try my best to avoid them.
Yeah, well, I'm in all the Star Wars groups, so I always get the things where it's like, oh, hey, this actress is playing this character in Star Wars that comes out in like 6 months. Like, oh, good, so I know this character's in it. That completely spoils it. Like, I still enjoy the ride, but it's like I was saying it on another podcast on what's the topic.
Well, it's like Rosario Dawson being cast in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So people knew it was going to be Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, guys.
We'll leave you with those rambles.
Yeah, those rambles. Thanks, as always, for listening, guys, and we'll be back at some point to do whatever other films come to mind, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
The intro for Star Wars Comics in Canon is arranged by myself, Mike Burton, and the backing music was made by Eric Matias of soundimage.org.
You have just experienced host, creator, everything elser of Genuine Chit-Chat, and also the host and creator of Star Wars Comics in Canon, found on the Comics in Motion podcast, Mike Burton.